Hello everyone, I'm Lonnie with Untitled Nerd Network, doing a comic book review brought to you by Infinity Flux, comic book store out of Hickson, Tennessee, our proud sponsor. Um, I want to talk about Walking Dead, number 186, and we're going to do like non-spoilers first, and then I'm going to talk major spoilers after I get done with the initial review. This episode, or this comic, actually sees a uh, major character death. Not going to say who until after the spoiler warning. We get to see a lot. Just the Commonwealth storyline is beginning to just heat up, and we also get to see kind of some small samplings of the Carl and Sophia relationship. We don't get to see a lot of it, just a brief glimpse, where it's interesting because since Carl and Lydia have been hooking up on the regular, just like probably several times a day, Sophia is kind of bummed that she doesn't have anybody to sleep with. And so apparently Carl is trying to help her out and trying to, fix her up. He's playing, matchmaker, that kind of thing. And she doesn't really seem all that interested. I can kind of tell that she wants to be with Carl. So it's going to be interesting to see where that whole thing goes, because the writers wouldn't be showing this if it wasn't leading somewhere. They're not going to show just aimless stories. And speaking of this particular story, the whole Commonwealth thing, a lot of reviewers and a lot of readers have been calling The Walking Dead boring for the last, several months. And I personally, while I see how it's been kind of slow, it's by no means has been boring. This story has been building, 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 building. And it's like, kind of like it's like a powder keg getting ready to go, but you've got to build that story. You can't just have constant issues with character deaths and major changes and all this stuff. There's no way. And now, this issue, people are popping up saying, "Oh my God, Robert Kirkman is a genius." Of course, he knows what he's doing. I mean, you can't just have huge events every single issue, because they won't mean as much if you do amazing things every page. You have to have a rise, and then you have to have a fall, and a build up, and then a big event, and then more build up, then another big event. You can't just have big event, big event, big event, big event. But anyway, I'm personally, between art, story, all that good stuff, and like the cover is going to sell some books, especially once people find out what's been going on. I'm going to give this book a 10. Like this book gets a solid 10. So spoilers from here on out. I'm going to do spoilers, major spoilers for the book. Okay, you've been warned. 3, 2, 1. Spoiler time. Okay, so the big death is Dwight. Dwight has been around for like freaking 100 issues or so, since right before the Negan introduction. He's, of course, to people who don't know for sure who Dwight is, he's the guy with the burnt half of the face who used to be a henchman for Negan, who betrayed Negan and, was a big part in Rick's group winning All Out War, several years back. So what we've got here is that Rick decides to sit down with Michonne and Dwight and kind of talk out how they're going to handle this whole Commonwealth thing. Okay, Rick is kind of in the middle, kind of torn. Dwight is wanting to take the place by force. He knows that the people are not happy. He knows that they can do it. And he even has, some of the people on his side that, actually live there. Michonne, on the other hand, has become a lawyer at this place, has found her long-lost daughter at this location, and she doesn't want violence. She wants to, she's more or less taken the side of the governor, Pamela. Um, and Dwight knows by dealing with Negan that Pamela doesn't want to give up the power she has as governor. So Dwight is fairly certain that there is no possible way Pamela is going to give up that leadership power. And he's right. I mean, you know he's right. But Rick wants to do the diplomacy. I guess he's seen so much fighting and conflict that he wants to do it diplomatically. Well, Michonne brings Pamela and her guards into the conversation, and Pamela has been listening to them go back and forth and gets a pretty good idea of where everybody's at in regards to how they want to deal with the Commonwealth. And so Rick, is trying to talk Dwight down. Well, Dwight pulls a gun and aims it at Pamela's head. It's like, we can end this right here. Right when it could have taken that turn, Rick shoots Dwight in the head, killing him. So Dwight is now dead. Pamela looks at Rick and says, okay, I know you're willing to help. Thank you for your assistance. Now I know where you stand. We can work together. Rick was not happy about having to kill Dwight, but here's my thing. Rick didn't have to kill Dwight. He seriously didn't. There was no reason to kill Dwight. Yeah, he could have sent Dwight away. He could have done any number of things. And I don't think that killing Dwight was the right choice. He killed Dwight as a political move, and I think Dwight was much more valuable. He was a human being. He had the right intentions. There was no reason to kill the guy. They should have just let Dwight get arrested or something that didn't involve killing the guy. Killing is such a final solution, and I really don't think that should have happened. So after all this, Pamela's like, hey, we'll have to bring somebody in to clean up the body. See you later, Rick. Talk to you later. So he leaves, and him and Michonne, Rick and Michonne, really get into it. Rick blames Michonne for bringing Pamela in and causing this whole little meeting to go south. He blames Michonne for her for having to kill Dwight. Michonne, I think, is really developing into kind of like a pseudo-villain type, really. I mean, her intentions are in the right place, but at the same time, she's being selfish because the class system, where the higher class people get it a lot better than the lower class people, it's kind of like what it is right now, but almost to an extreme. You have your super rich, and then you have your poorest poor that are like the laborer class. And the rich and the privileged really treat the poor like garbage in this place. And so Michonne is kind of fallen in, being a lawyer. She's kind of fallen in with the rich higher class. And so Rick is still wanting to hold on to the way things are. And I don't know where this is going to go. We have literally 14 issues until issue 200. Robert Kirkman has already promised that issue 200 is going to make number 100 seem like a cakewalk. I actually wrote a letter to The Walking Dead yesterday in regards to this issue, the feedback. I personally think, number one, I hope that they bring Negan back in some way. I hope that he becomes the lead. And the reason I hope he becomes the lead is because in issue 200, I believe they are going to kill Rick. I believe Rick is probably going to sacrifice himself to end this conflict at the Commonwealth. Something like that's going to happen. I do believe that Rick will not survive past issue 200. Like I said, this book, I give it a 10 out of 10. Great issue. I strongly suggest you check out The Walking Dead. It's a very strong book right now. And that's it for the review. Again, we'll be back next month reviewing The Walking Dead. We're inching ever closer to issue 200. I'm Lonnie with Untitled Nerd Network, brought to you by Infinity Flux out of Hickson, Tennessee, where The Walking Dead 186 is available at Hickson, Tennessee, or wherever your local comics are sold. Again, thank you for watching. Everybody have a good rest of the day.